All right, welcome back to another episode of the Noop Sports Show. My name is Ryan Newple. I'm your host here. I am joined today by Rob Thompson. Rob, you with me? Hey, there you
Yay!
are. Hey, guess what? We are on video. We are on audio. We are going next level with this media thing, Rob. I appreciate you being here. Thanks for joining me.
Of course, of course. I just had to switch glasses. Half the time I walk around wearing them, looking for. I'm looking for them, and got them
On
on.
your forehead or something.
Yeah, yeah.
The last place you'd look, right? Awesome. Well, thanks for joining me. Hey, Rob. Rob is the founder, the starter, the whatever you want to call him, of SportsBiz Media Group. Also, GamePlanU. Rob, I know we chatted back on your show, I think a month or so ago. I just wanted to catch up on my show here and have you on just to see what the heck is up and what's going on. We are in the new year, 2020. I know both of us have big plans, and man, you're hosting an event here in Orlando. I'm based out of Orlando, so I'm super excited to meet you in person. I'd love to hear more about what this event entails, and just where you're going with your business, man. What's up? What's new?
So I just celebrated my 6th year with the Sports Biz podcast. So Sports Biz podcast was created when I owned North American Sports Group. And it was really a tool that I used to create content that was relevant to decision makers that I wanted to get in front of, whether it was in media, whether it was a sports property or a sponsor. That's what I thought my strategy was going to be at the time. What I realized is I love doing it. I love the stories of people, and certainly entrepreneurs or people that were just, they're innovators in the industry. There's a handful of them that everybody known of through Sports Business Journal and how we kind of came up in the industry together, whether they're at leagues or teams, or they were, innovators. Those folks always intrigued me. And I love to hear their stories because they match up. With that, I end up writing a book, How to Land a Dream Job If Your Dad Doesn't Own the Team. And that led me to come back to my alma mater at the University of New Haven in Connecticut to help them with business development side of it for athletics to go Division I, and to bring in corporate partners and just build other revenue stream opportunities overlaid into the university. When that all happened, it allowed me to kind of go outside that area and connect back to the school through GamePlanU. And GamePlanU is a dot connector for career seekers and for startups. And it dot connects that ecosystem of sports technology, innovation, entrepreneurship, and then being in the industry, which most people never knew that working for a startup or starting up a platform within the sports industry is even an option. And so, whether it's sports media or whether it's management or it's a third-party vendor, and then now that other vertical is in the startup space. So that's the evolution of kind of how I got to where I am right now. And it just kind of landed me in this place of, I want to do something that facilitates those folks, career seekers, startups, startovers, and then investors. And that's how we landed down the Pro Bowl to host the first annual SportsBiz Startup Orlando 2020, which is next week, the 23rd and 24th.
Man, I love that. It's crazy how business and life, I guess, kind of brings you full circle, kind of brings you in so many directions. I'm the same way in business, trying this and doing this. And I kind of have always known where I want to be. But the progression of getting to that spot is so amazing to me. How many different things you go through. It's not just like, oh, I'm going to do this, and that's what you end up doing. You kind of go through these progressions of this business or this concept or this idea, and then something kind of sticks and something clicks. And it sounds like you're kind of at that spot now where like, man, this is exactly what I've been thinking for the last 10, 15 years, and I'm kind of there. And I really enjoy seeing that, from what you guys are doing. It's when you get to that spot, there's a level of confidence and satisfaction, and just everything kind of goes well, right? And so I just really am amazed by that in business, how that kind of comes full circle.
I think it's just people's lives in general, and the way, you took your passion and you picked up, and you just you had a family that had to pick up, relocate down to Orlando, right? And
Right. Yep.
completely change everything.
Yep.
Completely take a leap of faith on you. You bet the biggest bet you ever made was on yourself,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And you had
Yeah.
the support to do that.
Hmm.
And you didn't know where that was going to go. There are so many people, Ryan, that are like you, that get down with their career and they get to a certain point in their career like, I don't feel like I'm fulfilled. I
Mm.
want to chase my passion. But for whatever reason, they're handcuffed. They don't feel like they can get up and go, right? And take that chance. And they envy people like you. So I looked at the sports industry as I didn't know how to get in it other than I was a coach. I started my first business when I was 23 years old as a scouting service for high
Mm.
school kids back in 91. And there wasn't scouting services back there. And I sold it and I got the bug. But I was lucky enough to spend 30 years in the sports industry and in the entertainment industry, media industry, with both the NFL and the Walt Disney Company and Arena
Sure.
Football and a bunch of other things in there. And when I got to the end of that road, I looked at it saying, okay, now it's time for me to help other people because it felt right to me. I didn't have to
Mm.
chase it. Wasn't on that hamster wheel of building resume and all that and building career and chasing money. I got to a point now where I'm saying, I felt like I still have another swing at the bat in me. That's just an
Yeah.
entrepreneur. But being in higher ed, it provides me that stability. It scratches that itch of kind of
Hmm.
helping that next generation to come up, and then allows me to have that entrepreneur spirit where I can still develop businesses and do other things
Sure.
that kind of connects back to the school and the education process. So I'm in a really good place, with my life, and thank God, and knock on
Yeah.
wood,
Yeah.
that this is a really cool time in my life, and I'm just like you. I'm so thankful that we got to go through it because 15 years ago,
Right.
5 years ago, we weren't doing this.
Yes. Yeah. The
You didn't.
opportunities didn't really exist like this. This internet thing has really opened up so many doors for all of us.
It does, and when you're a 13-year-old kid, and that if you could become a YouTuber doing an unboxing and
Mm.
potentially, make 3, 4, or in this case, this year was $34 million in revenue. Anything is possible with this,
Yes. Yes.
and when that happens, it creates interest from investors. It creates interest in the marketplace with brands and media and people. They
Mm.
know now that they could do this just like you. Do
Yep.
this for you, and I are sitting here. This is what we do for a living.
Hmm. Hmm. Crazy to think of that, huh?
Right. And
Crazy. Yeah.
10, 15 years ago, this is something we would have probably done as a hobby, but now
Yeah.
this is real. This
Yeah,
is real
this is
for
it.
us.
This is it. We're in it. We're in it. So let's go back. So speaking of investors, speaking of interest, this event, man, this event that you have coming to Orlando. At the time of this recording, it's next week, so I'm actually really excited. It's a week and a half away. Tell us a little bit more about the event. So it's going to be kind of a Thursday, Friday, even into Saturday event, I believe. But give us a little bit more information about what's going on with this thing. That way, if anybody's in Orlando listening and isn't a part of it, maybe they want to be, they can contact you and see. So what's going on with this thing?
So first of all, before I forget, it's
Yes.
GamePlanU.org is where you can find out more information. And there's a list of activities that we can, and general public can attend as well. There's some special rates for students to attend. So
Okay.
it's a lineup of 14 startups from all over the country, different levels. There's college kids who have created an idea in their dorm, to someone who's doing a pivot in their 20-something year career, who sees an area in the marketplace that they can capture. So it's a 2-day event. It's actually a day and a half. The first part of it is a little bit more about inspiration, learning from an investor what they look for in startups. So it'd be a little bit of this, a one-on-one conversation, panel discussion, and then a reception and a network opportunity. That's Thursday. And then all day Friday over at the USTA Training Center, National Headquarters for the USTA in Lake Nona. There is going to be half a day. It's going to be workshops, and that's going to be on branding, on just working, being an entrepreneur. So listening to other panelists that are going to be there from some good friends of mine, but also some folks that are influencers in the sports industry in general. And then the second part of the day is going to be the demo day pitch. So it's each person, think of Shark Tank,
Yep.
Gets 10 minutes, the 5 minutes to tell their story, and then 5 minutes to answer questions from our investors and our panelists. And then if they win, the winning reception is we don't give away a big, oversized check. If you walk away with an interest in some seed capital eventually and build relationships and collaboration with other startups and certainly with the investors that will be in the room, then that's what you need. 90% of it is showing up.
Sure.
I recommend highly of any startups that are out there, including the ones that are coming down and participated in our accelerator, that they go to as many demo days and as many of these events as possible. They're just a smaller version of a convention, and they're starting to pop up everywhere. The investment space, especially money coming in from Europe and Israel and Canada and Southeast Asia, it doesn't matter. You have a good
Money's
idea.
money.
Money's money. They don't care where the idea comes from. If you can incubate it and you can create it and you can execute it, then they're going to take a chance on you. And there's a lot of it in the marketplace right now. So if you're a startup, if you're interested in the industry at all, if you have an idea and you want to get a sense of what these demo days are, go to GamePlanU.org and come join us. Come join us the 23rd and 24th in Orlando.
Yeah, that'll be amazing, man. That's in my backyard. I'll give a little plug out for the USTA headquarters where you're hosting this, man. That's a state-of-the-art facility there. That's probably, I'm sure they consider it the top tennis facility in the world, but there's 80, 90 courts. They have a couple main courts there. So hopefully everybody gets a chance to take a look at the facility as well, which I'm sure they will because they do a great job there. But congrats on getting over at that facility. Good job there.
Well, it was your recommendation. So
yeah, well, you made it happen. I think that's a great spot to be in. And Lake Nona's growing leaps and bounds, and so it's just it's a natural fit. There's tech investors living right here that'd probably love to be involved that don't even know about it. So I think as you kind of grow and continue to build this thing, I'm sure the interest is going to keep growing. I see in my space directly, my space is a little more focused on the sports betting side, which obviously is growing leaps and bounds right now as well. But we're seeing investment talks and, people wanting to invest, people looking for investments. We're seeing that kind of stuff all over in this space right now. So like you said, there's no lack of money out there right now. And I think this experience that, the people there are going to get just from pitching, that experience, even if they don't get money out of it, that experience is invaluable. I think it's something that you almost have to do as a business owner just to get your feet wet, understand what those talks are like, make connections. Make connections with the people in the room. I think that's a big thing in that. So, man, that's going to be fun. That's going to be a good one.
Well, we picked this market last year. I think I told you I brought a group of students down to work the Pro Bowl Fan Fest activities over, right? And then I said, there's got to be something else here. There's nothing better than going into a market when there's a big event happening. And, Orlando's used to big events. And sometimes those events could get lost. But I felt like this week going into it, there's opening of the Fan Fest. There's the PGA golf show going on. There's a lot of other things that are happening in the marketplace that if you're in the sports tech space or just the sports industry space in general, Orlando next week is the market to be in.
Yeah.
Then the following week is the Super Bowl in Miami, which is a sort of distance. So there are some folks that are going to go down there right after ours.
Yep.
So what we will do when we kind of grow this property in these events is we're going to look to other markets that have major events happening in it and just kind of just
piggyback. Yeah.
That's it. We're gonna drift off of it or draft off of it, whatever that term is.
That's awesome. Cool, Rob. Well, good. Well, I don't want to keep you all day. I appreciate you being here. Tell us again. So you said GamePlanU.org, correct? That's where we can find all the information on the event.
That's it.
Anything else? Anything else for our audience? Any last words of wisdom you have or advice, I guess, I think a lot of the listeners of this show are sports, business owners, sports betting specific, iGaming type individuals. Any advice you'd have for any of them?
So if you're ever thinking about a pivot in your career, I could tell you right now that if you're smart about it and you're sincere about it and you have the effort, you want to put the effort behind it, to 100% chase it. And, don't give up your day job until you can figure it out, right? Until you got revenue coming in. Don't just look for an investor, because that's not always the best fit for everybody, right? You can bootstrap things, and you could suck it up and work a little bit harder. But we only have one life to live, right? This is one ball game for us. This is not a scrimmage. This is it. And, so I could tell you every day that I woke up and a little bit scared, but I went to bed satisfied. And there's times when I just felt like throwing it all in, even when I was with corporate America.
Sure.
But there's nothing better and satisfying in your life when you get up every day, as scared and anxious as you may be. But you go to bed so satisfied because you control it. You control your life, and you control what's happening. And you're never going to make enough money for yourself or your wife or anything. It's never, you're never going to have enough, but do have enough to satisfy yourself. So that's what I would say. Don't ever forget why you began your journey. If you are in a startup or you are in a business that you are operating, and when you feel like giving up, just try to remember why you started in the first place. So we do have another accelerator happening in the spring with GamePlanU. There's typically a 90-day time period where I come in as an on-demand kind of, freelance executive on your team that helps you kind of understand your business, open up some doors, networking, position your business for that next level, whatever it is, whether it's investors or whether it's a ramp up. So that's going to happen, and we're going to have applications are going to be open in February, and that's also at GamePlanU.org, just to end it with a pathetic plug.
Amazing. Yeah. Well, I think that was great advice you gave there. Appreciate that. Really look forward to meeting you next week, Rob. Make sure that happens on Thursday and possibly Friday. So appreciate you being here. Appreciate you giving some of your advice. And listeners, watchers, hey, we're video now. So watchers, I really encourage you to reach out to Rob. And even if it's as simple as like, hey, Rob, I may be interested or have some questions for Rob. I know he's always open to that as well. So Rob, I appreciate you being here. Hopefully in a year we can jump back on here and talk about year 2 in Orlando of the startup for you. So
Ryan, it's always a pleasure, buddy. I'll see you hopefully Thursday down there with the palm trees and sunshine.
I wouldn't miss it. It's 85 degrees. I may go sit by the pool here in a bit. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening. Rob, appreciate it. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.
Take care, everybody. Bye-bye. Take care.